In this video, I'm going to be arguing with a coin shop owner, but not in a bad way. This coin shop owner and I are each going to pick a side, gold or silver. Then we're going to spend the video trying to convince the other person to switch to our side. Who will win, gold or silver? Well, you're going to have to watch and find out. Let's be joined right now by Josh from Minot Coin and Bullion to argue gold versus silver. My channel is sponsored by sdbullion.com. New customers can get their first order of gold or silver at spot by going to sdbullion.com/new. All right, guys, welcome back. We are joined by Josh once again with another discussion. And this time we are going to each take a side, gold or silver, and then we're going to argue with each other the points of both. Now, given that my channel is named Silver Seeker, I am going to take the side of silver. However, Josh is also a very big silver guy, so he is reluctantly taking the side of gold. Is that right?
True story. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let's get started, Josh. And listen, I'm a silver stacker, and I do have gold. I don't dislike gold, but I definitely focus primarily on silver. Try and argue with me why I should go gold instead of silver. Good luck.
I get to go first?
You get to go first.
Okay, well, I knew most of this ahead of time, but I did do some research because I knew I would end up having to argue gold, which is a little tougher for me because, as you said, I am quite pro silver. I talk about it all the time on my channel that I haven't bought gold in 2 years for me. So why gold? Well, one big reason is gold is recognized globally as having a store of value. You could go anywhere in the world with gold and people would understand that gold has value. Silver, on the other hand, and it's been proven in countless videos, and I'll bring up one in particular, it's less recognizable as having value. And I'll bring up the candy bar video. You probably know what I'm going to talk about. There's been several, but Mark Dice, a YouTuber, put out a video where he stood on a street corner with a stack of Hershey bars in his hand and a 10-ounce silver bar in his other hand and asked passersby, which would you like? Would you like this candy bar or would you like this 10-ounce bar of silver? Now, I don't know how edited the videos were, but most people chose the candy bar because they don't understand that silver has value. You know, we're brought up in society about gold, mysterious cities of gold, TV shows called Gold Rush. Gold is universally understood to have value. So that's one argument over silver.
Well, when you say universally, let's go back to Mark Dice here. He also did a video where he tried to sell a gold maple on the street corner in front of a coin shop for $20 and failed.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
He failed miserably. And so the people watching know, we did not set this up. I've seen these videos. I did not know Josh was going to bring any of this up. He made his own notes. But it's true. In front of, was it Encinita coin shop or whatever, where he lives out there in California, he tried to sell a 1-ounce gold. He even told some of the people that they could go into the coin shop with him and verify its authenticity before they gave him the money, and failed miserably. But to your point, and I'm not trying to hurt my side here, but to your point, when he finally found someone willing to do it, guess what? A guy wasn't from the US. He was from out of the country. So he had to find someone that didn't live in the US, didn't live in California to buy it. But like you had said, those videos are probably highly edited. I'm sure that there are some people that would have chosen the silver, but his point was to show how many people would choose the chocolate bar instead of the silver, and it's disheartening. He also did another one where he walked around with a 100-ounce silver bar and tried to get people to guess the value within a certain range, and if they did, they just get it, and he did not give that bar away that day. So,
yeah.
But as far as being universally recognized, silver is also pretty well recognized. There was a video, and I unfortunately I'm not going to be able to share it here because I don't have a link to it. Maybe if I look hard enough through my emails. But there was a guy who did a trip, I want to say through Peru. It could have been a different country. But he had gold, he had silver, and he had Bitcoin. And the only thing he was able to actually get his full money value for in that country was silver, not gold. And I will try and find that video and link it down below for everybody to hear him say that. But it's true. All right, so a really quick interjection here. I found the video. It was across Argentina, and I'm going to put a link for the video down below. But here's a very small clip. This is from the YouTube channel Canadian Prepper. So credit to him for this clip. And again, link down below. Check it out.
In a country that's actually experiencing hyperinflation right now, nobody really wants gold. And silver was definitely the winner. Silver was the winner by far.
I think silver is a lot more recognizable than you think. In fact, if you look at countries like Zimbabwe, where the currency failed through hyperinflation, an ounce of silver would get you a good night in a hotel, even though their currency was being littered onto the side of the streets. So I don't think silver is not as universally recognized as you just tried to argue, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that's the whole point of this video. Show both sides.
That's right. But, as far as silver is concerned, let's take a look at the value of silver. Right now, the gold to silver ratio, Josh, is 79 to 1, roughly. It's really close. It's like 78.9. We'll just say 79 to 1. So gold and silver historically have been much, much closer than that. So if you're going to put, let's say you are going to buy a precious metal and you're going to put money into it, you're better off going in silver. And here's why. For gold and silver to get back to that ratio, let's say 50 to 1 or, even lower, but let's just say 50 to 1. If gold and silver were ever going to get back to 50 to 1, you win with silver no matter how it happens. Because if gold goes down to meet the 50 to 1 ratio with silver where it is now, you're better off having silver. If silver goes up to meet gold at that 50 to 1 ratio to where it is now, you're still better off with silver. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, I absolutely would. But you brought up ratios, and I had some notes on ratios I wanted to talk about. Maybe not even ratios, but performance. In the last 100 years, now that's a pretty big timeline, and that exceeds probably anybody's lifetime that's watching this video. But gold, over the last 100 years, has had a higher compounded annual return, averaging, my phone rang, averaging 4.8% annually. Silver's about 3.5%. Now, those numbers sound great, but average inflation is close to 3%. So, but getting back to the ratios, one important thing about gold, and I always preach this to people when they come in the shop and don't have an idea of which route they're going to go, gold or silver. You brought up 79 to 1. The disadvantage of silver is for the value, silver takes up 79 times more space, approximately. Obviously, gold is a denser metal, and a gold eagle technically is a smaller coin. Gold 1 ounce eagle is a smaller coin than a 1 ounce silver eagle. But storage becomes an issue. When we talk about ratio, sure, as that ratio shrinks, storage maybe becomes a lesser issue. But just for example, if let's say you want to buy $1 million worth of gold. Wouldn't that be nice, right? That's about 425 ounces. For those of you who can't picture how much that is, that would easily fit in a standard shoebox, that you bought your most recent pair of shoes in. If you spend $1 million on silver, it's going to take 66 shoeboxes size-wise to hold that silver. So where are you going to store it? So in terms of ratio, yeah, I get it. And it's hard for me to argue that silver isn't a better value right now, because I believe it is. But my job's to argue gold. So because of the ratios where they're at now, dollar for dollar storage becomes an issue and something really to consider. And that's why, honestly, a lot of people or not a lot, but many people in the shop have chose gold for that reason. Maybe they're getting into metal for the first time and have a substantial amount they want to spend. Well, they don't want to have to go out and invest in a vault or a big gun safe in their home to safely store it when they can, hide it in a little top drawer of their dresser. So that's something to consider too.
That's fair. And I'm going to be honest, it's hard for me to argue against your point, but let's bring up a couple of things. One, it'd be a lot harder for people to steal my $1 million worth of silver than it would that $1 million worth of gold in a shoebox. I'm just saying. A lot harder.
You're absolutely right.
But secondly, when you have gold with such a high value, Wouldn't you much prefer to have something like silver, which is, lower value and more divisible? So if you actually need to spend some of your silver, like let's say you just need a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk, you're not going to take gold to do that. That's what silver's for. So why wouldn't you just rather have everything in smaller value denominations that's easier to spend in the long run? I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well, that's a good argument. Well, they do make fractional gold. The downside of fractional gold, as you well know, and most of your viewers will, premiums are higher percentage wise. But even on a 10th ounce gold eagle right now, you're paying a lesser percent premium than you are to buy a 1 ounce American silver eagle.
Well,
Right now, I don't have numbers in front of me, but 12% maybe on a 1/10 ounce gold eagle is the premium you're going to pay above its melt value. On an American Eagle right now, I had it in my notes somewhere, but it's like 20 to 30% over spot. So yes, silver is much more fractional, much more easier, maybe to do trades and interactions with other people in a commerce perspective, but Eagles have higher premiums, silver Eagles versus fractional gold. So even though fractional gold premiums are looked at as being high, it's still cheaper than a 1 ounce silver eagle premium. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. So there's an argument, not necessarily a good one, because still, what did you say, a loaf of bread and a gallon of gas? You're still going to need change if you spend a 10th ounce gold eagle. But premium wise, it's still cheaper, even if you choose to stack fractional gold in that sense, than having silver in your stack.
well, it's cheaper to stack fractional gold than it is to have silver eagles in your stack. I like how you tried
Yes,
to
you
pivot.
notice I chose that carefully.
I would argue that the premiums on very fractional silver in the form of 90% is quite low right now, as are 1 ounce rounds. I've seen deals as low as 99 cents an ounce over spot. So I don't know, maybe
Yeah, I myself was selling silver rounds for a quarter over last week for one day. So, I get it. Premiums are low on a lot of silver. But I want to circle back to a point you made earlier that you said somebody could much more easily steal my $1 million in gold versus your $1 million in silver, just because of the cumbersome size and weight and, effort it would take to move that much silver. Well, you're 100% right. But looking at it that way, also, if you need to move or not move, but leave your home, there's an emergency, a natural disaster, something happened where you have to evacuate your home where you are holding your metal quickly. It's going to be a whole lot easier if you could grab a little satchel full of gold instead of trying to move, 66 shoe boxes that each weigh, 40 pounds of silver. So you can more easily travel with your wealth if it's in the form of gold versus silver. And honestly, that's a consideration that some people make. Not that a lot of people think that, oh gosh, I might have to leave because a tornado is coming and I'm taking my gold with me. Well, that definitely can happen. So it's just something to think about too.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's a fair point. I think the whole point of this exercise, and we'll start winding it down here because it's already been 12 minutes, is that there's actually good arguments for both. And to be honest, if you are going to put $1 million into precious metals that you plan on holding, it's hard to argue against having both. Having silver for those small transactions, gold for those large transactions, and being able to easily move it. So maybe a couple of shoe boxes of silver combined with one shoebox of gold or something. I don't know what the ratio would be. So without arguing for either side, if you were to, let's say you had someone that were going to invest $1 million, and this, no one's going to take you, this is just an opinion, not financial advice, but what would you do in that situation? Would you do 20/80, 30/70?
I think it would depend. Well, if we're talking today, obviously it would depend on current markets. I mean, there were times I would tell people do not buy gold at this price because premiums are high, or don't buy silver now because premiums are high. You can argue there's affordable premiums in both gold and silver right now. As you talk, 90% silver premiums are down, silver round premiums are down. 1 ounce gold and fractional gold premiums are down. So in terms of historically speaking, they're both more affordable in terms of premium. You had $1 million. I guess it would really depend on how are you going to store it. If it is something you choose to keep in your home, which is obviously a risk, but a lot of people like to have 24/7 access to their metals, and I'm a proponent of that too. I think that's important, but consider quite a bit of gold. Because like I said, unless you want to build a bunker
Yeah.
and store a whole bunch of silver, you're going to want to have gold just for space. At that point, maybe a 50, well, no, probably more like a 70-30 split gold to silver. If I had $1 million to spend personally, I hate to say it because I'm a huge silver proponent right now, but just in terms of storage, I would want to purchase more gold on a percentage basis as part of that big buy, just for storage.
Yeah, and I don't actually disagree with that. I know this whole exercise was me pro silver, you pro gold, but gold storage wise 100% wins. And it's different if you're only storing 30, 40, $50,000 worth. Silver's not a big deal, but man, once you get into those 7-figure numbers, I mean, you don't really have a choice unless you're going to keep it in like an IRA, like a storage vault or something. You know what I mean? So
right.
If you're
it's cumbersome.
Yeah, it's cumbersome for sure. Well, Josh, this was a fun exercise, but I want to ask the viewers, what do you guys think? Would you rather be silver or gold? If you had $1 million, what would your split be? I'd love to hear all that stuff down in the comments. And if you have any arguments for either side, I'd love to know those as well. So let us know in the comments down below. I'll definitely be reading them. I'm sure Josh will read some of them as well.
Absolutely.
Once again, guys, Josh does own a coin shop in Minot, North Dakota. He also has a YouTube channel. I'm going to put a link for that down below. Make sure you go check him out. Josh, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks a bunch. It was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime.